First time buyers, your ultimate guide. It's a step by step journey on how mortgages work and how to get your mortgage. So, this is what we're going to be discussing. First, it's really important to understand your budget. Next, get your mortgage in principle. Then, start house hunting, make an offer, conveyancing and legals, mortgage application, exchange of contracts, completion day, and tips and final summary. In this video, we'll be going through the first few parts, and then the next video will have the rest. But please stick around because it's really, really important. Now, who am I? My name is Manda and I call myself the mortgage coach. I have a combination of mortgage advice experience and also financial coaching, and I combine the two in order to help you. So let's get started. Now, understanding your budget. This is really important. Now, normally, when you're looking at your budget, there's two things I think are important to look at. One is your deposit, and the other one is your actual affordability. Now, it's really, really important to know about these two things. Now, first with the deposit, what I like to do normally is find out how much a client can borrow. And then based on what they can borrow, we work out if they can save up 5% of that, 10% of that, etc., in order to figure out what kind of deposit they've got. The next thing is understanding mortgage affordability. And what I mean by that is not how much you can borrow, but how much you can actually afford month in, month out, i.e. the mortgage payments. So what you have to look at is your monthly income and your monthly expenses. You also, with first time buyers, probably need to add on additional expenses that you don't normally pay. So for example, if you're still living with your parents, you may not have to pay utilities, council tax and things like that, but you need to consider that. Now, the last thing is the additional costs. Now, stamp duty, there is stamp duty exemption for first time buyers, but only if you buy properties under a certain threshold. And then legal fees. Again, legal fees can range from 500 to 2,000, maybe more, depending on your solicitor. You should always find out up front how much they're going to charge. The other thing is, if you go through a mortgage advisor, sometimes they can actually get you free legal. They do offer this with some first-time buyer mortgages. And then there's the survey. There are three different types of survey. There's the valuation, there's the home buyers, and then there's the full structural. Depending on what you want to get out of it, depend on what kind of survey you want. I do have a video coming very, very soon about the different types of surveys they are. And then if you want a basic valuation, that sometimes is actually thrown in for free with the mortgage. The next thing to talk about is get a mortgage. So this is an application in principle. So it could be an application in principle. It could be a decision in principle. Now, why would you need that? Firstly, it's great for you to know that in principle, i.e. based on your income and your expenses, would you be able to get a mortgage? They also, when they're doing a DIP, which is decision in principle, or an AIP, agreement in principle, they will do a credit score on you as well. So they do their own internal credit score, and basically that is what will tell you whether the lender has agreed in principle to give you the mortgage. Now, what you can use these for is you can take them to the estate agent. It's normally a certificate that says there's a certain amount that you can borrow, and you can take it to the estate agent maybe before you're going to put in an offer, or maybe when you're doing the property search, and you can actually show it to them. So it's a really, really good thing to have. The other thing is it allows you to find out exactly how much you can borrow, what that loan amount is. And then finally, as I mentioned before, depending on your credit, it can make a difference. Now, the other thing is, if you do too many of these decision in principles, application in principles, it can start to affect your credit score. So make sure either ask a mortgage advisor to do it directly, or if you are doing it directly yourself, make sure it is a soft footprint and not a hard footprint. Now, have you got any questions? Is there anything that has come up? Please put them in the comments. Now, finally, I've put in my email and my website, and please could you subscribe and share, because I think this could be a really, really useful video. Now, tomorrow I'll be doing the other areas that we discussed. So just to recap, those will be start house hunting, making an offer, conveyancing and legalities. This will be 3 videos in total in order to make it more punchy and not be a very long video. I'm breaking it up into 3. But as I said, if you've got any comments or there's anything that you want to understand a little bit more about, please let me know. And then when I do the next video on the second a lot of areas, I can start with explaining this in a bit more detail if that's necessary. So thank you for your time and have a good evening.